Okay, 6. The Pale Wives, that's where we actually need to read, but I want to check and see what the other ones are.
Okay.
Pack of Idiots, Morning Dress. Well, there's only one here.
Yep.
Normally, my conversations with Mute are of a rather frivolous nature. Gossip in the affairs of some of the more important noble houses, as well as her trying to bait whatever she's able out of me. While I think such a flow of information is valuable, so I might pass the news to my husband that he might otherwise hear, I would not consider her attitude to have any resemblance to seriousness. Previously, I had assumed that this is simply impossible due to her nature. While I do not really understand how, despite her explanations, anyone could live inside a computer screen, she says that she is an artificial person. I had assumed that perhaps her absence of a soul prevented her from feeling serious emotions. Ordinarily, she wears incredibly bold, colorful clothing with golden hair absurdly well adorned. For the past month, however, she has been uncharacteristically humble, wearing unappealing brown dresses with her hair undecorated. My curiosity got the better of me at last. Please, I have wondered, why are you so attired? It is unlike you. She gave me an odd look. Huh? She asked. It's morning dress. That was obvious, and not particularly the thrust of my question. Did you not tell me you were 1,000 years old, that you have no family? For what reason are you wearing mourning? She gave me an annoyed look. A friend of mine died. Okay, no, I don't have a family. It's always been just me. But this guy was a really good friend. He definitely deserves that kind of respect. She said, we were super close. I love how she talks. It's so obvious that Mute is not of their time.
Yeah.
Do you wish to tell me about him? I asked. She gave me another look that I couldn't quite read, but seemed somehow sad. Nah, she said. I don't want to talk about it. Not now. I do miss him too much. Hey, I'm going to go now, okay? I'll talk to you later. I said goodbye to her, and she disappeared from the computer screen. But as she did, I could have sworn that I saw her start to cry.
Aww. I'm really sorry.
No, not you again! Why? Why do you pop up when you have nothing to say? I'm disappointed in you, honey. Okay, what are you? New official.
Who reads this one?
It doesn't really matter. On the 13th day, Young Suk finally passed the civil examinations. Otherwise, the final month of the 308th year was about event.
Oh, actually, that reminds me.
Oh my gosh! Honey, you have something to say!
You know that Smith brother who seemed, well, really kind of brutish?
Yeah, the drunky one.
Well, it turns out that he actually did cross paths with Young Suk. I thought maybe you might be interested in that.
I am.
So I just got a log about him, written by his wife. It sounds pretty unpleasant.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Sorry, I'll let you get back to what you want to talk about now. I just thought that might be something you were interested in.
Thank you very much, honey. I appreciate it very much. Very, very much. Oh my gosh, I just got like on the 13th Christmas.
Do you want to read this one?
Sure.
Dearest mother, I remember your advice. Husband has been working very late into the night recently on some business that he won't even share with me. I understand his reluctance to talk to me about things his superior has sworn him to secrecy on, and that damn child has been keeping me plenty busy anyway, but I still wish. Last night, he was out even later than normal, and when he finally did return, he had a black eye, his face and hands were bloodied. He looked really bad. The sight of that really scared me. Of course, you of all people know that I'm hardly squeamish at the sight of blood. It was how hurt he looked. I hurried him to the kitchen and started to clean his wounds. I'll admit my voice quivered when I asked, Husband, what happened? He was reluctant to answer and grunted in pain when I convinced him to put ice on his bruised eye. He finally did, and you absolutely can't repeat what he said to me. Do you understand? Not a word of it to anyone, not even to father, but I truly need advice. I had some questions for the High Magistrate's office. He sent his brother, Smith Song-Kyu, to answer them. That's the dumb, nasty one. My husband trailed off, thinking. I asked him something that he didn't agree with. I had the moral high standing, but he had the physical high standing. His wound's clean. I didn't know what to do, but tucked the uninjured part of his face and comforted him. Then he joked. Turns out his heart more than mine, but I could tell underneath that he was truly hurt. What do I do, Mother? How was a woman supposed to respond to such an awful thing happening? I've tried to comfort him as best as I can, but I just don't know what else I can do, Mother. Please, you must have some advice.
Yeah. Oh no, honey. Honey, we're gonna have to sit down, you and I. You even specifically picked this out and you, like, don't have anything to say? Like, hey, look, you actually read it. Or, like, no? No? Okay. Book 5. We didn't get any of the drama.
Is this the same person as last time?
Yes.
Okay. Dearest Mother, do you recall in my last letter I mentioned the pale bride being brought into the household? I take back any kind words I might have said about her. That awful child is nothing but the most insufferable person I have ever met. I just thought I would have a little more time of peace. With young Silk's adopted mother visiting her family, I have been given full responsibility over that miserable child. What happened to my promised domestic bliss? She is in trouble so often, one would think she were a boy. She acts like one too. I suppose it can't be helped. She said she lived her first 12 years in the past, and I could see it. She certainly acts as though she came from a civilized time. Just last night, she made a huge scene at dinner time. She kept trying to rudely leave the table in front of young Suk and father-in-law, loudly insisting that she was too sick to eat. She has said this before, too. I was worried, so I had a doctor examine her. She is, of course, in perfect health. When I asked her why she thought otherwise, she started talking about how pale and thin she was. She's not truly unhealthy. All she was doing was rubbing it in that she is far more delicate and beautiful than I. What a cruel little child. Why must she be so spiteful to me?
Or maybe she had an illness and that's why she's pale and thin.
And you guys just are less civilized in a way?
Yeah.
Do you want more from Kim Young-suk's wife, or do you want the reply from her mother? Sorry, I'm afraid I don't have anything. I can explain why if you want.
Go ahead.
You have to understand something. It's traditional for women's letters to be deleted after being read, so the disk space can be relocated. Women weren't really supposed to read or write. Certainly the nobles did. It's just the idea was that spending time on education got in the way of the important virtues of women, which was serving her husband. So in practice, even if a woman was literate, she could at least excuse it by destroying her words afterwards. It's less pretentious if at least the writing wasn't permanent. Does all that sound reasonable to you?
Sounds pretty fucking stupid.
Yes.
Best response.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
But that's how it is.
Pale Bride didn't do it.
But regardless, Kim Young-suk's wife was definitely considered a very virtuous woman, so I have none of the letters that she received. So I'm sorry, I can't give you anything there. There's more!
Okay, let's get the ones from her then.
Oh, Alright. Very well, I can give you a couple from his wife. Here you are.
Alright, let's see what we got. Bride's adolescence. This has been here. The Pale Bride grew to be a fine, demure young wife, but she was not always this way. Near the end of the year 319, she had a temper unruly enough to be mistaken for boys. Jenna looked upon her wild days with disapproval. She was from another, less civilized time. Rather look upon her eventual submission as a testament of her good character and filiality. Filiality. That word.
Filiality.
Phillies. That she was able to overcome such a wild nature, for the sake of the Kim family and the sake of her husband. One evening, she stormed into the common room while I was discussing business matters with a debatee. "We need to talk," she demanded loudly, which I indicated I was busy. The only cause she became louder. "Right now!" Embarrassed, I was forced to excuse him to address the child. "Is this a joke? Are you serious? You've made me wedding plans?" she shrieked at me. "Please calm yourself," I told her, and sat down. After admonishing her for a rude interruption, I tried to do what I could to calm myself. It seemed that she had a rather bizarre set of expectations that she wouldn't marry until she was many years after growing into a woman. Which she would elope with a love-struck man who came her way with no regard for her own chastity, and she would have no assistance in protection in finding a suitable husband. Simply put,
Her ideas were as bizarre as they were dangerous, but as she had gone angry at the news, rather than excitement one would expect from a girl who found out she was getting a husband. Not even the sensational news to be the emperor. Of all people, who would call her? Like, seriously. Like, who wouldn't want to marry an emperor? I mean, he's a fun piece of ass.
Please, do not do that. A less civilized time, he says. Can you believe that, man?
I can.
I'm not giving you any more from him. It's not relevant. It's just ignorant, patriarchal stupidity. What an awful man.
Yep. That's why we read it, to remember. Just us wives.
Dear Diary, I guess it's been forever since I cared enough to write anything down. I just haven't seen much point. Since my last century, I got married, moved into the palace, and lost my virginity. Apparently, for a girl my age, none of these things are really all that weird. The Queen finally insisted on talking to me the night after I first left with dearest husband. I had been expecting it. My sister warned me that she would probably be jealous, and I just have to endure it. She outranks me, and I would simply have to kowtow to her if need be. I haven't had to yet, though. We had tea together, and she at least has started by acting friendly. I'm sure sister was right. I'll get the brunt of her anger soon enough. But today she was friendly. How are you holding up? She asked me after we finished with tea. I shrugged. Don't trust me. I know how hard. Do trust me. I know how hard.
Don't trust me.
Do trust me. I know how hard it can be for a newlywed. I've been through it myself, but I was at least older. You probably miss your family, do you not? That's what would be expected from any good girl. So I nodded. It gets easier with time. I had no response. I'm sorry. Am I bothering you? You can leave if you wish. I simply thought you might like some company. I wasn't sure how to respond to that either. I just clasped my hands and shook my head. I just wanted to be sure, she said. There's a long pause that followed. Finally, she asked, how was last night? It surprised me that she was willing to bring up the subject, figuring that it was a segue into her being vindictive towards me for sleeping with her husband. I shrugged as she continued, I just know he can be rough. Nobody ever talked about those duties with me. Then she smiled and I felt almost like I could drop my guard. I had no idea what to expect the first time. Do believe me, I'm not jealous. That is nothing to be jealous of, but do tell me how it was. It made me think back on last night. Honestly, it was the best night I've ever had since waking up in the future. Everyone, my mother, my sister, and now my queen, warned me that it would be bad. Nothing more, but I honestly did love it. I would have let him keep me up all night if he'd had the energy for it.
Oh my.
I guess while I was thinking about all that, I let out a slight smile. I caught myself, but not before she noticed. Oh, did you enjoy it then? She asked, touching my arm. I jumped. Please, be at ease. It's perfectly alright too. So long as you know it's just for him, there's absolutely no shame in that. There is none. I expected her to jump into something passive-aggressive from that, but she didn't. All she did was change the subject and said that she really was worried about me. Maybe she isn't so bad. So, you can see, she was kind. She was good to me. She really was.
She seemed like a pretty incredible woman.
I take it you want to know more about my marriage then? What are you interested in?
Sheha.
Then you're in luck. She's in all of these entries. Well, she was really the only thing in my life worth writing about, for the most part. There's one in that she wrote herself about her husband, and you can see for yourself, she's a lot stronger than I ever was. So you can see for yourself why I admired her.
I think that means I don't have to go back for the husband thing.
And, well, just read them, alright?
Okay.
Next one. Dear Diary, attending to my husband has been easier than I was afraid it would be. Yes, there's days when it requires more strength than usual to keep going. I'm still getting increasingly more sick, nothing will change that. But it's not so bad, really. All I have to do is dote on him and try to anticipate his desires, and he's happy with me. No abuse or anything. Sure, it's not as if I like him. He's an ugly 40-year-old man who cares only about politics and never tells me anything. Love. Well, that's certainly no concern. I don't know where I ever got the impression that was something that could happen in a marriage. I thought it was something from the past, but, well, I was young before I got put in stasis. It must have been a mistake of childhood. But so long as I do as I'm told, I'm not mistreated, like I was by my sister. And sleeping with him feels good. I really hope I don't get pregnant soon. I don't want that to stop. Doing that is really the only thing that makes me actually happy these days. Well, that, and Jehua is talking with me. She's nice. She keeps me company while I stay up to wait for his return. She pressures servants to take me to bed on those days I'm too feverish to sit for too long, and she just talks to me as if I'm a friend. I don't really understand why, but I guess she really doesn't hate me after all. Do let me tell you, she said one evening while she brushed my hair, I always wanted a little sister growing up. That's how I think of you. Does that make sense? I shrugged. It was nice of her, and it felt so relaxing to let her touch my hair like that. She wasn't waiting for a response anyway. By now, she knows better. She just keeps talking kindly to me.
Aww. The more she lives in my house, the more I am confused by the mystery that's the Pale Bride. No wonder my husband has been favoring the Kim family lately. Their daughter seems to be the perfect woman. She's not simply a pale beauty. She's always too shy to speak at all, let alone argue. Seems to hang off his every word, and it turns out is actually so completely humble in her education that she cannot even read. Or rather, she cannot read normal characters. I observed her writing to herself, and perhaps maybe a diary. When I asked what it was, she would say, but was quick to hide it. I couldn't recognize a single character on her screen, however. It seemed too simplified compared to regular writing. Perhaps she has invented a writing system just for herself? It's very strange. Did you ever receive those letters I sent to your house before you arrived? I asked her, curious. She had. Did you read them? Her response was worried, as if she was scared that I would be angry to find out she hadn't. I was not, of course. I'm sorry, I had assumed. Are you able to read it all? That was when I found out that she wasn't. I offered to read them to her, which she seemed quite enthusiastic. I think I am likely to leave out some parts, however. I had enough difficulty bringing myself writing them more embarrassing parts of the family history. Bring myself to talk about them, even if I know she would never say anything, is far too much. Like all things with her, I cannot tell her whether her enthusiasm is sincere or an effort to make me happy. This troubles me.
Of course I was illiterate. I could read just fine, just not their stupid Chinese-based characters. I mean, I can understand them now. Everything except for my diary entries translated from them. It's such a dumb way of writing, though. It makes everything come out so stilted compared to proper Korean. Well, anyway, you're showing me that because you're interested in her admonitions, right?
We already have those, but sure.
Then here, I'll just give you the letters she sent. They give all the details, even the ones she was too embarrassed to tell me about at the time. You can probably guess which part she cut out. It's pretty obvious. It's the incest thing that she never told me about at the time. Having read about now, I don't really blame her. And, well, here you can see what I meant for yourself.
We already read them. Or at least we didn't read them. I kind of skimmed through them. But, yeah. Incest happened. She's his sister. Yeah. That's why they didn't have babies.